Everyone, it's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Richie. Happy Friday morning to all. I want to hit on last night's Thursday night football season opener, a night that's supposed to be filled with jubilation and just utter happiness for Chiefs Kingdom as they drop their banner, their third Super Bowl victory in their team's existence. But the Detroit Lions had other plans. First and foremost, I have got to give a world of credit to Dan Campbell's team, truly rising to the occasion, and in my opinion, truly showing um, what it takes to win in this league in the fourth quarter by running the football and essentially pushing the defenders off the line. I must admit that even though I wanted the Chiefs to win because I have no interest in an NFC team beating an AFC team in a regular season game, it just doesn't benefit my Giants. I was happy that they finally called an illegal motion on the offensive line late in the game. It's something that I think the referees during the course of the game, quite frankly, they were really ignoring it. Now, for those of you who didn't watch the game last evening, two key losses for the Chiefs going into this that were going to make things challenging off the rip. All-pro tight end Travis Kelce had hyperextended his knee, so he was a no-go last night. And the team's best pass rusher, Chris Jones, who was actually in attendance, also did not participate in the game. He is currently holding out, hoping for a salary raise. But I would have to say that the true turning point and the true goat of the game is undeniably former Giants wide receiver, now currently with them, former Super Bowl champ. He did have a huge punt return last year, Kadarius Toney. I think you could make a logical argument that Patrick Mahomes missed him on the pick six. Toney did deflect the ball, but it wasn't Mahomes' best pass of the night. But in a critical situation late in the game where Kansas City had an opportunity to put it away, a Toney drop led to them settling for a field goal. Later in the game, wide open, another Toney drop essentially changed the trajectory of that drive as well. I don't know if there's a disconnect with quarterback and receiver. I do know that Toney missed a substantial amount of the preseason, but it was terrible. One catch, 1 yard. And this is a guy from a talent-based standpoint that is supposed to essentially replace Tyreek Hill. Last year, they didn't necessarily have anyone that could replace Tyreek Hill. It's only one game, and, week one is full of overreactions. But what I must say is when you consider that a veteran like Juju Smith-Schuster signed with the New England Patriots, when you consider that a guy like McCole Hardman is now catching balls from another former league MVP, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, out in East Rutherford, and when you consider that your best pass rusher is not pleased, and he did not play yesterday, I have to say this could be a potential cause of concern for this Chiefs team. Patrick Mahomes, quite frankly, never truly looked comfortable last night. And I think it was evident with the way that he was trying to make things happen with his feet to extend plays. Nobody in the league does it quite as good as Mahomes in terms of extending a play to allow his receivers more time to get open. But, yeah, undeniably a punch in the face and a wake-up call to the defending world champions. Shout out Mike Zappi. Shout out Idris Salam. And shout out my boy Brett Bandick. They all predicted that the Lions would indeed come up with this upset for week one. I myself had picked the Kansas City Chiefs. Moving forward, it doesn't get easier for the defending world champions as their next game will be in Jacksonville against the defending AFC South champion Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chiefs did eliminate the Jacksonville Jaguars last year in the playoffs in what was a very competitive game. But, the experience overcame the youth. And, the Chiefs made more plays down the stretch last year. But I would think from the optimistic side of things, there is a good possibility that the Chiefs probably get back Travis Kelce for that game. I think part of the motivation for sitting him out was truly a precaution because of the fact that they knew they were going to have a week and a half off after the Thursday night opener. But that game is in Duval, and it's not going to be easy. the Jaguars will be opening up Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, on to the Detroit Lions. Got to give this team a world of credit, as I already stated. Dan Campbell has these guys playing. Amon-Ra St. Brown and his mastery of the route tree is just really proving to me that he is going to be one of the absolute best wide receivers in the NFL this year. What truly impressed me, in addition to their defense, was also the poise that Jared Goff showed in the pocket in critical situations. When a couple of balls got batted down and they had to turn to punting the football, they never got down on themselves. I think former Bear David Montgomery, truly a really nice pickup for this Detroit team that likes to check down the ball a bunch. And I also believe that rookie running back Jahmyr Gibbs shows that he's going to be quite a special player. And I also think it's pretty cool how Lions legend Barry Sanders, who the team actually will be building a statue for, much well deserved, reached out to Gibbs on a mentorship level, which I think is just all kinds of awesome. It's always great for a young kid to get guidance from an NFL legend. I did pick the Detroit Lions to win the NFC North going into this season, and I think they're off to a good start at proving my point. Going back to last year, it's interesting. This Lions team basically defeats Aaron Rodgers, which ultimately was his final game, not only in Lambeau, but as a Green Bay Packer. Back it up to last year's season opener, they almost beat the Philadelphia Eagles in a shootout. A year later, they beat the team that beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I think the common denominator here is that the Lions are proving time and time again that they can compete with the NFL's best. Now, do I think this is sound the alarm time for the Chiefs? No, I don't. I actually believe that if Travis Kelce would have played, or if Chris Jones would have played, or if both of them would have played, this would be a different show this morning. And at the end of the day, despite coming out very flat and at times very unmotivated, the Chiefs did only lose by 1 point. So I do think it's important to reiterate that. If there's a bright spot for the Chiefs last evening, I would personally say is that Patrick Mahomes, with the exception of one terrible pass, was on his game in terms of getting the ball where it needs to be. And I believe that the Chiefs defense stepped up very good, despite not having their best pass rusher in Chris Jones. I picked the Chiefs to finish second in the division to the Los Angeles Chargers, but I also picked the Chiefs to make the AFC title game, given their playoff pedigree. It goes without saying that the Kansas City Chiefs absolutely have to get Chris Jones on the field. They got to do what it takes because it's been proven that without him, and even more so without All-Pro Travis Kelce out due to injury, they just looked really pedestrian. As we move along deeper into week 1, we've got some awesome matchups on Sunday, and I do want to alter one of my particular picks. On my show recently, I picked the San Francisco 49ers to go into Pittsburgh and pull the road victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. After thinking about it a little bigger, I am actually going to go with the Steelers for the home opening win. I'm going to go Steelers 23, Niners 20. I am sticking with my other picks in terms of the bigger games going into this weekend. I've got the New York Giants beating the Dallas Cowboys at home. I got the Giants winning that thing 26-23. I've got the Aaron Rodgers era getting off to a nice start. I've got the New York Jets defeating the Buffalo Bills 27-24. And I think we're looking at a legitimate shootout in SoFi Stadium between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Miami Dolphins. I think the Chargers have a little bit of an edge on defense that could bode well for them in crunch time, possibly a pick or something of that sort. But I'm expecting the points to go up in that game. I've got the Chargers winning that one 37-33. So sticking with all of my week 1 picks, with the exception of that Pittsburgh game, Nick Bosa will be returning for the 49ers, which is awesome. But, quite frankly, not being a part of camp and then just coming in, even if he is working out, it's not quite the same thing. So we will see how that plays out. But I must admit, man, seeing the Chiefs look so pedestrian yesterday just goes to show you yet again another evident example that it is a completely different season. And while we speak of banners dropping and celebrations pregame, I think Gillette Stadium is going to be a very interesting place when the New England Patriots honor their legendary six-time winning quarterback for that franchise, 7 overall, Mr. Tom Brady, number 12, as they play the Philadelphia Eagles. Upset alert there. I do think the Patriots have a legitimate shot to beat the Eagles. Going into those kind of environments, it is very difficult to match the intensity initially of the crowd and the team. And let's face it, it is very hard to not get motivated when you see your franchise's greatest player getting acknowledged and when you look up and see all those banners that he was a huge part of providing. So I believe that Philly's going to have their work cut out. On my show, I did pick New England, so I will stick with them, and we'll see where I land on that. I did mention that next week's Chiefs opponent will be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got them beating the Colts on the road, starting off the Anthony Richardson era for that Colts team. If you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. And also to give you guys a heads up, look for us on Mondays. We are going to be giving you our Monday morning quarterback shows, going over all the events that occurred on Sunday. And we'll give you updated assessments and possibly some changed opinions going into our Monday games. And every Wednesday, in between the hours of 8:30 and 9, announcements will be made weekly. We will be doing our weekly prediction shows. Just want to say shout out to the viewers. You guys have been amazing. We really appreciate all the support we have been getting. And we do the show for you. The show is only as good as the people who support it. And you guys have been nothing short of amazing. I will be checking in more so as the weekend moves along. Until next time, I am Richie. Happy Friday, everyone. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. Take care.